If you watched my last video about name mismatches, you already know the truth. Mexico visa decisions can collapse over tiny spelling and format issues. Now today's video is for a very specific group: families, parents, spouse, and children. In general, dependents. And yes, I'm going to explain the workaround. But listen carefully. This is not a hack, not a shortcut, and definitely not 100% guaranteed. This is Senor Desi, from Aadhaar to Cup, your Mexico to India migration plan consultant. Please subscribe and follow me to know more about moving and living in Mexico. This option is only for people who are stuck because correcting names across Indian documents feels like a never-ending project. Bank, PAN, municipal records, certificates, everything. If that's you, watch till the end, because I'll explain what can work in real life, what cannot, and where people misunderstand the process. Quick reminder, for the main applicant, I still recommend clean documents. Passport is the source of truth. If you can fix everything properly in India, that is still the safest and cleanest route. So what is this video is about? It's about dependents who cannot easily align every document before traveling, especially when there are minor name mismatches across spouse records, parents' names, or children's birth certificates. And now the big headline. Mexico has a separate entry facility. If you hold certain valid visas, like US visa, UK visa, Canada visa, Japan visa, or Schengen visa, Mexico may allow you to enter as a visitor without applying for a Mexican visa in India. In some cases, the visa should have multiple entry and should have been used already. It depends on the country. I'm saying may, because entry is still decided at the port of entry by the immigration officer, based on your documents and your travel purpose. Even if you are visa exempt because of a US or Schengen visa, the officer can still ask questions and can still refuse entry if something looks wrong. Now let's connect the dots. If your dependent, spouse, parent, or child can enter Mexico legally, using the US, UK, or Canada, Japan Schengen visa, then you can handle some documentation issues inside Mexico using a service from the Indian Embassy in Mexico City. And this is the key. The Indian Embassy in Mexico City provides a consular service called Same Person Certificate. This is not a random lawyer affidavit. This is a certificate issued through the embassy's official consular services. Now I need to be extremely clear about one important rule. The Same Person Certificate issued in Mexico is mainly useful for processes inside Mexico, especially when you are dealing with authorities in Mexico. But if you take a one and the same person affidavit made in India, apostille in India, and you try to submit it at the Mexican embassy in India to get a visa, many people report it does not help. In fact, in recent years, the Mexican embassy route has become stricter about name alignment on core documents. So this video is not telling you, just make an affidavit in India and go for your Mexico visa. No, this video is about a different pathway. Enter Mexico legally first as a visitor using the third country visa exemption. Then use the Indian Embassy in Mexico City to issue the Same Person Certificate and then proceed with the relevant INM process. Now, what is INM? INM is Mexico's Immigration Authority, Instituto Nacional de Migración. And inside INM processes, there are structured routes connected to family links, vinculo familiar, or family unity pathways. Different families have different routes. Some are doing regularization by family link. Some are doing the change of status inside Mexico. Some are following a family unity filing connected to a resident status. The exact category depends on your situation, your status, and your documents. So rather than pretending there is one magic form, I'm going to explain the practical framework. What must be true for this to even be possible? And what steps must be executed in the correct order? First, this is for dependents only: parents, spouse, and children. The main applicant should not rely on this workaround as Plan A, because the main applicant file is the foundation. If the foundation is weak, everything becomes weak. Second, this is mainly for minor to moderate mismatches: spelling variations, missing middle names, surname formats, or name order issues. If the identity looks like two completely different people, no certificate will save you. Third, your dependent must be able to enter Mexico legally as a visitor. That means holding a valid, multiple entry, and previously used visa from the US, UK, Canada, Japan, or Schengen, or qualifying resident status as listed by Mexican consular guidance. And fourth, you must accept uncertainty. This depends on the officer and the completeness of your supporting evidence. If you want guaranteed outcomes, the clean document route is still the best route. Now let's walk through the story, step by step, like a real family situation. Your spouse's passport says Kumar, but your marriage certificate or Indian bank records show Kumar with double A. That mismatch is causing trouble at the Mexican embassy in India. Instead of fighting this at the Mexican embassy in India, the dependent enters Mexico using a valid third country visa as a visitor. At the airport, the officer may ask, "Why are you visiting? Where are you staying? How long? Do you have return tickets?" This is normal. You should answer honestly, consistently, and calmly. Once inside Mexico, you have a limited period as a visitor. Many processes have timing rules, appointment queues, and document preparation time. So you should not enter Mexico and then waste weeks. Plan appointments early. Next step is the Indian Embassy in Mexico City. This matters because the embassy provides an official consular service called a same-person certificate. The embassy's consular site lists same-person certificate as a specific miscellaneous service. That means it's not some random paper. It's an embassy-issued consular certificate. The typical flow is, you fill the miscellaneous service application through the Indian Consular Services portal, choose Mexico as the country, and then submit the required documents in Mexico City as per the embassy instructions. Now, what documents do you generally need? At minimum, the embassy usually expects the applicant's original passport, copies, and supporting documents showing both name versions, like PAN, bank statement, marriage certificate, or birth certificate, depending on what mismatch you are trying to link. And the output is the same-person certificate attested by the embassy. In your workaround, you specifically mentioned it being attested by the ambassador or through the embassy's official attestation process, meaning it carries official recognition. Now here's the most important warning. The same type of one and the same person affidavit issued in India, even if notarized, even if apostilled, often does not help at the Mexican embassy in India when you are applying for a Mexican visa. Why? Because the embassy in India is evaluating your identity and documents before you ever enter Mexico. And they want primary records aligned, especially passports, civil certificates, and core financial documents. But inside Mexico, for INM procedures, you are dealing with a different authority and supporting documents. Especially embassy-issued certificates can be considered differently depending on the officer and the process. So the practical reality many families report is, INM may honor the same-person certificate when it is issued by the Indian Embassy in Mexico City because it is an official consular statement from the person's own government mission in Mexico. After you obtain the same-person certificate, the next step is your INM appointment for the relevant family-based process, what Mexico calls vinculo familiar routes in many cases. INM processes vary by state office, workload, and timing. Some offices are faster, some are slower. This is why it's important to be organized and not rely on last-minute fixes. At the INM appointment, your goal is not to argue. Your goal is to make it easy for the officer to say yes. That means your story must be clean. This is the person, these are the two name versions, and this embassy certificate links them. You present the same person certificate as supporting evidence along with your relationship documents like marriage certificate for spouse, birth certificate for child, and your birth certificate for parents, depending on which dependent route you're processing. And again, this is where discretion comes in. If the rest of your file is strong, the mismatch is minor, and the relationship chain is clear, your chances improve. If your file looks messy in multiple places, discretion goes the other way. Let's break this down into 3 practical scenarios, because Indians need examples, not theory. First, spouse. Your spouse has a mismatch like Anita Rao in older documents and Anita Sharma in passport, or spelling like Kumar versus Kumar with double A. The embassy's same-person certificate can link the identity. Then INM sees same individual plus relationship proof via marriage certificate. Case solved. But here's what can still fail. If the marriage certificate itself has major differences, or if there are multiple conflicting spellings across multiple documents, the officer may still ask for additional evidence or refuse. Second scenario, children. This one is sensitive because the child's passport lists parents' names, and a birth certificate lists parents' names, and a parent's passports also have names. It becomes a name chain. If the child's passport shows father as Ramesh Kumar, but the father's passport shows Ramesh Kumar with double A and the child's birth certificate has only the initials R, that single letter difference can create trouble. In that case, the same person's certificate helps connect the fathers to versions of names inside Mexico. But if the child's documents have inconsistent parent names in multiple places, like missing middle names in one document and extra names in another, then even with a certificate, the officer may ask you to correct primary records. Third scenario, parents. Many Indians discover this late. Your own passport may have your parents' names, and your birth certificate also has your parents' names. If your father's name is spelled differently in your passport versus your birth certificate, this can block dependent processing. A same-person certificate from the Indian Embassy in Mexico can help link your parents' name versions when presenting your relationship chain to INM. Again, not guaranteed, but it can reduce confusion when the mismatch is clearly clerical. Now let me give you the calm, practical warnings that protect you. First, do not send elderly parents or small kids on this route casually. Mexico City Embassy appointment, travel, and INM appointments can take time and energy. Second, do not assume the port of entry is automatic just because you have a US or Schengen visa. Immigration may still ask for hotel, itinerary, return ticket, and purpose, and you must be consistent. Third, do not treat this as, I will fix names later. If you can clean documents in India, please do it. This route is for situations where correcting everything is extremely difficult and time-sensitive, mostly for dependents. Fourth, understand what you are asking INM to do. You are asking the officer to accept an official embassy certificate as supporting evidence linking name variants. If you are respectful, organized, and your chain is clear, you reduce the officer's risk. In Mexico, immigration officers love one thing: a clean story. Not emotional explanations. Not long WhatsApp messages. A clean story. Your story should sound like this. This is my spouse. Here is our marriage certificate. Here is her passport. Two different spellings exist in Indian documents due to clerical variation. The Embassy of India in Mexico issued this same person certificate linking both names. We are requesting the family-based process accordingly. Notice what is missing? No drama. No blaming India. No blaming Mexico. Just clarity. Now let's talk timing. Embassy appointments can take time. INM appointments can take time. And your visitor stay is limited. So you must plan like an engineer, not like a tourist. If you enter Mexico and then start figuring out appointments, you may run out of time. So the smart approach is, plan Mexico City Embassy appointment early, prepare documents, and have a clear appointment timeline. Also understand, rules and officer behavior can shift. Some officers are strict. Some are flexible. Even within the same city, different officers can interpret supporting evidence differently. That's why I'm repeating this. This is not guaranteed. It's a practical pathway some families use when they are stuck, but it requires patience, organization, and acceptance of uncertainty. Let me clarify what this is not. This is not a way to avoid document correction forever. If your core identity is messy across everything, eventually you will still need corrections. This is also not a way to get a Mexican visa approved in India. Many people try that and get disappointed. This pathway relies on the India Embassy in Mexico issuing the same person's certificate in Mexico and presenting it in Mexico. And one more thing, do not confuse, entering Mexico is different and having residency is different. Entering is step 1. Residency or any change of status is a separate INM process. Now, why does this workaround even exist? Because Mexico's entry rules allow certain third country visa holders to enter as visitors, and because consular missions like the Indian Embassy can issue official identity linking certificates inside Mexico. Once you understand that, this stops feeling like a hack. It becomes a structured approach. Starts with legal entry, official certificate, then a formal INM filing. So here is my final, honest recommendation. If your dependents can cleanly fix names in India, do it. Passport is truth. Matching documents is safest. But if you are truly stuck and your dependent already has a valid, multiple entry, previously used US, UK, Japan, or Schengen visa, then this Mexico-based same-person certificate route may be considered, with full understanding that it depends on the officer. Senor Desi understands that each case is different. If you need more guidance, you can reach me for my consultancy via my social platforms. I'm Senor Desi, your India to Mexico migration plan consultant. And from Aadhaar to curb, you don't have to figure this out alone. Follow and subscribe me for more details on moving and living in Mexico.